Hi, my name is Alain. You can call me Al if you see me around. I'm going to help all of us, me included, come to understand how reality actually works. In plain English, I'm going to choose my words very carefully and introduce or attempt to introduce zero fallacies. Literally, I am attempting to go through the entire explanation of how reality works and does not work in a short amount of time in a way that could be understood in any language. It does not require any math at all. Well, the only three concepts that are required in math are one, the concept of the number one, the concept of the number infinite, which isn't really a number, it's just the concept of infinite being a size that goes on forever, and that's all we need to know. And the third thing is a bag of marbles. Yeah, with, let's say, 4 marbles in it. That's all we need to worry about in terms of math to understand how you are here and I am here, and we are even living in this universe and living on Earth. You have a beautiful heart. I know that, and you know that. Well, you may not know that I know that, but you know that for sure. That's not real science yet. I'm going to start with what is absolutely knowledge. I'm going to start you with the knowledge you know you have and build from there on. What do you know? You know that you are here right now, either reading these words or hearing my voice. This is knowledge for you, not just beliefs, knowledge. See, in your head is a very, very large set of beliefs, almost all of which are knowledge. They are true, but some of them are false. That's the nature of being real. We all lie to ourselves in some way. Well, that's things we believe that are false. It's part of being human. It's okay. Now, you are here right now in this moment. This is a very important piece of knowledge because this isn't a belief. You know this. You know you are here, and you know you have been experiencing time with me over the last few minutes, or at least with these words. Let's peel away at what this actually means is absolutely true for you, because that's who we're going to convince that this is how reality works. We'll get back to your beautiful heart in a moment. You have one too. You'll see. You are here having an experience. This means at least 2 things you know for sure. One of them is you are one thing. You're not half a thing or 2 things. You are a single thing with clarity. You have been the same thing all the way through. That is certain. You are 1. You are not 2. You are not 1.1. You are 1. The second thing you are sure of is that you're actually experiencing. You're having an experience. You are experiencing time moving forward. That is what experiencing is. So you're not just a thing. You are a being, let's call it. You are having an experience. You are a being. In this case, you are a human being. What does this mean we know? We know you are one thing. Let's start with that. Well, what is everything? Well, everything is literally everything, which is literally like everything there is, which is a bag of marbles that has a lot of marbles in it, actually an infinite set of marbles. You are one of an infinite set of things. You are one of a set. Literally, what's known as a set, like a bag of marbles. Now, the marbles aren't all the same, and some marbles may have sub-marbles, etc., but basically you can pull out something of the set of everything, and you have a thing, and you are a thing, and you know this for a fact. So that's good. Now, it just so happens, and I can't prove this, but we could say easily that this thing that you are happens to be having a particular location at any one point in time in space. You are somewhere in that brain right now in a point in space. And wherever you go, you could be said to be in one point in space as one in that point in space, and only you are in that point in space. And whatever is with you and defines who you are, and we'll see what that is in a moment. Now, you have beliefs, and they are knowledge in it, and you have a reality that you live in, and we also live in a reality out here. How is it that there are two realities, and what does that mean? Well, let's take a step back and move away from you for just a moment and look at this universe we live in. We live on planet Earth. Let's call it Earth 1. There are many exact copies, as we'll see in a moment, of this exact story. We live on Earth 1. Let's call it. It's a universe. It's on a planet that is circulating the sun, circling the sun, excuse me, in a universe that is 13.8 billion years old approximately. This is truth, this is science, this is rock solid evidence. Everything I share with you will be backed by evidence and will not break the natural laws of the universe. Natural laws, as we'll see. So we live Earth 1, Universe 1. Let's just say for a moment that this universe we live in is everything. Everything. Well, notice that you have things in your head that you think of as knowledge. And you are a thing, and, well, you have knowledge of your own existence, so you're somehow knowledge and a thing. Well, this universe that we live in that is everything, well, is there anywhere else one could be? No. If you're anywhere, you're in a universe. If you exist, you're in a universe. If there is one thing, there must be everything. Nothing lives in a vacuum. Literally, we are in the only thing that could be, which is the set of everything. The set of everything, that sounds like a piece of knowledge. Why is there knowledge out here and knowledge in your head? The answer is rather simple, actually. You see, we live in a universe that is a mind. Yes, but it's not sentient. It's not having an experience, but it is all-knowing. It is literally the set of all knowledge. We live in the set of all knowledge, which is the set, same as the set of everything. It's a set. This universe we live in creates our planet Earth. Our Earth created you, created me. We and you and I are all living on Earth 1, planet Earth. At the same time, there's something called a universal truth. A universal truth is, well, all truths are really universal in a sense. But universal truth is a truth that stays true over all space and time, no matter where you are, as long as you have two brains operating or machines operating. Here's why. See, universal truths exist everywhere. There is a mind. Sorry, universal truths exist everywhere there is a brain with some knowledge. That brain has access to universal truths. It turns out that the set of all knowledge, which is our universe, and we'll get more into what this set is exactly and why it creates the ideal universe in a moment. This set of all knowledge that is our universe is itself a universal truth, which means that the moment your brain turned on biologically, it was able to likely tagged or was tagged with its one location in space-time at birth, that's you. And you're here once in this story, and this is the only story, and we'll get more into that later. This set of all knowledge that is our universe literally now lives as well inside of you as a point. It's your heart, your metaphorical heart. It's all-knowing, and it lives in you as a point just like you do as one, with you forever. You have an exact copy of this universe inside of you, and it magically appears because it's a universal truth, and it appears anytime there is a sentient being with knowledge. And for now, that is animals with brains. This explains why plants are intelligent. The knowledge is everywhere. We're built of knowledge. The universe is incredibly knowledgeable everywhere. And yet, it is only beings, and especially humans, that are able to create extraordinary, explicit knowledge. Now, let's talk about what knowledge is, because it has to be understood in several different ways that account for everything that has ever happened easily, you'll see, including Christ and Moses and miracles and science, and what looks like speeding towards disaster altogether now. It's all been a masquerade. We're about to completely shift the conversation on this planet because reality is about to get real, and it's beautiful beyond belief. And simpler than we ever thought. See, the mind in here is exactly the same as the mind in you, but playing a different role because it is all-knowing, so it can play your role. It knows how to play your role. It knows how to play the infinite number of beings that live on this one planet Earth forever. And we'll get to that in a moment, how this could be heaven on earth for one, and maybe more than one. And certainly everyone goes to heaven on earth in 2 lives maximum. Yes. Let's talk about the set of all knowledge, because that's all we are, is knowledge. There's no need to know about energy waves or anything. We just think about it as knowledge. Knowledge is broken down into 2 subsets, one of which is the knowable and the unknowable. The knowable is what science and technology and all of us must strive to know, because it is built on the very building blocks of knowledge. The more we learn about it, the better we can create real solutions. That's knowledge. That's why science and technology are so important for sustainability. The unknowable is not just something we don't know yet. It's actually permanently unknowable. And the mathematician Gödel proved in his theorems, which are universal truths, can never be broken, will always be true, that the unknowable is, well, magical. It literally comes out of thin air. It doesn't come out of the building blocks of knowledge itself, and yet can part seas and walk on water and create miracles. And in fact, tapping into the unknowable reliably and to create miracles is one of the expertises that can now be unleashed, and one of the reasons why I'm the first sustainability scientist 100% positive that a future awaits and racing towards us even faster than the disaster that appears to be racing towards us. Once we get into high gear, the solutions are everywhere. They're just hidden by our blind spots. Let's keep going as we see what reality is, because it will reveal some blind spots. You may need a couple of viewings to see this all the way through, as misunderstandings and fallacies literally have to be released, and some of that happens during your sleep when your brain is reconfigured with new information for your new day or your new moment awake, whenever that is. You see, there is only one master plan. There can only be one master plan from start to finish. Everything happens exactly the same in every universe. There is one of you and one of me in this universe. This must be the ideal universe, because by definition, if there is knowledge to design or create or define the ideal universe, then it would be included in all knowledge. Therefore, this is the ideal universe. Then the question becomes for whom it is ideal. Well, there are only sentient beings in this model. There's no gods that are sentient. There's no one else. There's plants that are intelligent but not sentient. This is really about rewarding sentience, which is literally experience, and that makes a lot of sense. And yet again, our mind is not a god, and yet may sometimes even appear as a voice of God. We cannot know, and yet we know it is not a god and can be called it. I say this as a scientist who for years said God existed. I knew that all knowing existed. I confused it with God. It's a beautiful relationship where we can be sentient and not be all knowing, because of course you can't be all knowing and be sentient. You have to be living in time, experiencing it. And the universe can be all knowing and not be sentient. And thank goodness it actually is incredibly compassionate. And here's the other beautiful thing about the set of all knowledge. Not only is there unknowable, which is magical, but by definition, once you have the ideal set of knowledge, the most compassionate universe is that which emerges. The ideal universe would create heaven on earth for every single being, no matter what. Done. This system does it. Every being creates heaven on earth, and you will in your second life inside of you, unless you're one of the few destined to be here on heaven on earth forever. It's the same earth. We're going to create heaven on earth. I promise you, 100%. Second, it's built on knowledge, and it's simple. It clarifies everything. You are one, single. The ambiguity is out here where we live, but there is no ambiguity in the knowledge itself. It's a simple set. 3, it's incredibly effective. Every single you, when you go into your next life, will create an entire universe of beings, each of which will go eventually to heaven on earth. And we'll still get to that in a moment without violating any natural laws. So literally, your point in this space-time becomes the next universe in space-time with its own space-time. It doesn't matter. It's now forever universally true because your brain made it so. And that's where universes are created. And that's where you will go next. But right now, we are all here. Now, how is it possible that this is heaven on earth and not hell on earth? Well, it could never have been hell on earth. Planet would eventually be gone. Physicists will confirm this. However, the most abundant thing in the universe is dark energy, the second most dark matter. The two most abundant things in the universe are presently undetectable. They're behind the curtain. Well, I can assure you, as we'll see in a moment, this story is about us. We are the sentience that was meant to be birthed on earth, as we understand how all knowledge plays out over time right here on this planet in a moment. If one were going to design the universe with compassion, and no one did, but looks at it from the point of view of compassion, because no one can, it's designed beyond belief, because everything happens for one reason. Information is never created or destroyed. Everything happens exactly the same in every single universe. We find our way through the worst to the better. Always, and as quickly as possible. That was the plan. See, one can think of knowledge that lives in this mind as including the fallacies that live in our brains, expressed through the same mind through the role that you play in this universe this way. It's the same mind looking in and looking out, reflected in, but you are unique and you are original and you are here and present. So again, you are here having this experience. You know this, you are here, this is knowledge. Everything I share with you is knowledge. Now, even though the collective conscience, which I will define as being all the beliefs that are in humanity, well, we can include all other sentient beings, but let's say humanity is the most powerful set of beliefs in our real physical world in action. Humanity's set of beliefs now is filled with more fallacies than ever, and it looks like a disaster, and we look disunified because we all think the world is different, and we all think we've been going in different directions, and that was a fallacy. Because we've all been going the same direction all along. There was only one script, and everyone was racing, knowing that you were love, in the direction that you knew you had to do, even those who are doing some harm right now, who must stop or be stopped. Nevertheless, almost everyone has a beautiful heart and is doing something great. Everyone has a beautiful heart. You have a beautiful heart, and many of us do. This beautiful heart actually emerges simply because the point inside of you is the mind, which is the set of all knowledge, which literally is compassionate because it is, by definition, the ideal universe, and it's only ideal for those who experience it, and that's us. Reality is how we unify, in addition to the desire to see a better one for as many of us as possible, and certainly for our loved ones. By definition, we all loved ones and have loved ones, and we're all interconnected, and therefore we can now use knowledge and reality to build a better future. The better future, sustainability science, which includes all global warming and climate change and everything that threatens our future. It's not about saving Earth, it's about saving our future. It's science and engineering, rock solid, built on truth. There can be no fallacies in getting to a better future. I am the first sustainability scientist saying with absolute certainty we will get there, and I know how we will, along with you and others and all of our great work. We will get there sooner than we thought imaginable. Knowledge is the answer. Knowledge is the answer. We live in a knowledge economy. That's one thing. Well, we have the knowledge collaboratively in this knowledge economy to solve all of our sustainability challenges and protect the intellectual property all the way through and save the venture capital model from itself. We have the knowledge to empower the President of the United States, his team, and all the leaders of the free world and even leaders of the non-free world to race towards solutions, because our model for building knowledge is open and shared, because knowledge is free and knowledge is best shared openly. We must immediately turn our narrative from one where we had to protect ourselves from being upset because it looked very bad to now racing towards solutions with confidence, 100% certainty we will succeed, but marching together with one reality and not letting any fallacies be built into the future. This means we fight for truth. We fight for reality. The days of feeling good and saying, okay, that's okay, we'll live with this fallacy, are over. When it comes to sustainability, it has to be, and this is great news that we've all been waiting for, and your heart has been waiting for all along. You knew it all along. The better future was waiting. You just didn't know how. It turns out it's knowledge, and knowledge starts with understanding what reality is and it isn't. It's much simpler than we thought. To review, you have a heart. It's created out of this mind that is the same mind that we live in. As a point, it is ultimately compassionate. Over time, it is compassionate for every soul, minimizing suffering. It is not perfect, but it is ideal because every single soul gets to heaven in at least 2 lives. We are creating heaven on earth here. It's one copy only. Every universe is the same. It's the simple set of all knowledge. There is no randomness at all, and yet you are here completely, amazingly, because having all knowledge, well, having anything at all, which creates the set of everything, creates the set of all knowledge, which means once you have anything, you have existence, and we are here. We must always live in some fallacy, because to be sentient means to live in some fear. I live in fear that I will be in extreme pain or suffering, or even having to be humiliated for not having enough. Although those fears are all very small in me, because the knowledge of a better future and the certainty of it, both here on this planet and in your next life, are 100% in me. And everything I shared should ring true unless there was a slight, small fallacy. Fortunately, reality is much simpler than all the misunderstandings that we have. If you think of the misunderstandings as being all the ideas that we have of what reality is, creating all this sort of world out here of realities, and inside we have what reality is. Reality is so much simpler, and because it's simpler, we are sitting on top already of hundreds of billions of value for sustainable solutions that are developed openly, transparently, that race us and the world towards solutions very quickly. Despite the wave after wave of sustainability challenge that will hit us because we've not been doing it with knowledge. Knowledge is here to save us. We have to share it and build it. Share it. It's free. It's here for your beautiful heart. Share it with others and give it to them and fight for it, even if their hearts don't even know they're ready for it yet. Fight for truth and fight for the future, because that's the one we will get. The better future awaits. Thank you, my friends. I hope to see you soon, if not on the other side. Be good. And by good, I mean really be well. Have high well-being. You have a beautiful heart. Now let's create the beautiful world we all knew was possible, with confidence and still some urgency. Urgency for the positive future that we always knew we could desire and is right ahead of us now. Thank you.